Okay, so we're doing the Outex kit here, and the first thing to do is to get any little burrs off each of the nipples. Apparently, any sharp bits have to be removed. Got a small file for that purpose. Next thing to do is got to clean it off with some Magic Clean. That's what it says in the instructions. If you're not in Japan, I don't know what you're going to use. This is some kind of anti-grease degreaser to get all the bits off and all the grease off, so the tape is going to stick. Squirt a bit of that on there. Go around the rim. Just got an old sock. Go around the rim. Start from the valve. Now make sure you remember where you've been. Obviously, just go all the way around the rim. That's all cleaned up. And now, if it's cold weather where you are, they recommend using a hairdryer or some heat gun to heat up the rim, and that makes the tape stick better. Here it's at the moment it's about 20 degrees, so I don't think that's necessary for me. Next step, we've got all these little stickers. Each sticker goes onto the top of the nipple. Each nipple has one of these on the top. We go all the way around, sticking these things onto the nipples. And this is where, if you are in a cold climate, you heat these things up, these nipples up, this is going to stick much more easily. I think we're all right here. So I'm just sticking them on. It's going to take some time. Now, the instructions recommend that if your wheel is wider than this tape, the rim well is wider than this tape, to draw some lines down the center of the wheel well, so you can, as a guide. In my case, the rim is exactly the same size as the width of the tape, so I don't need that. Okay, this is the tricky bit. This tape is unbelievably sticky, and you have to start between two of the nipples, okay, and you need to get tension on the wheel. So for this purpose, I've employed an assistant who's a bit camera shy, so she's going to come in and keep some tension on the wheel as I put this tape all the way around. Okay, well, I've gone all the way around the rim and come to the other end, and you have to cut the tape exactly to match the other end of the tape. You don't want any overlay. So I've got my Stanley knife or craft knife, and you cut the tape so it fits perfectly. Oh, it's really sticky stuff. Really sticky stuff, that. You don't have to be too careful about pushing the tape down, because once the pressure in the tyre is built up, it's going to push that tape down into all the gaps anyway. But you don't want any channels of like bubbles coming from the nipple to the outer edge, because any channel will create a leak. The next thing we need to do is, with a craft knife, whatever, is to cut the hole for the valve stem. And this tape is so sticky, it's not altogether easy to do. You cut the hole, and then the next step is this cover tape. Now you don't want to start this at the same position as the sealing tape. Yeah, you don't want the edges to be the same place. Okay, they could have mentioned that before, but the instructions didn't mention that before. It seems like an important point to mention, really, doesn't it? In my case, I'm lucky. I started with the sealing tape, quite far from the valve stem hole, so I think I'll be all right. Okay, once you've got the hole nice and open, we need to check if the valve is going to fit nicely, make sure that goes in nicely. So just take off these first couple of nuts, the washer and the first bit of rubber, and thread the valve through the sealing tape. Make sure it goes through. Oh yes, look at that. Goes through nicely. No problem at all. So after that, we need to remove the backing tape off of the sealing tape. This has a backing tape on it, and you've got to remove that and then put this kind of protective tape on. This is important, when you are changing tyres, using tyre levers, you dig a tyre lever into that stuff there, and you're going to break the seal. So it's got to have that tough protective tape. Now they supply a couple of gloves in order to smooth the tape down. You don't want to get any air holes between this tape and the sealing tape, so it's important to get this right. We're going into the hole there and smoothing it around the nipples and onto this sealing tape, making sure to get all of the air bubbles out. Another time-consuming process, so I'll be back later once I've done that. Okay, so the protective tape is on, and took a while going around smoothing it off with my thumb. I got cramp at one point. That was pretty painful. And now, like with the sealing tape, you need to cut exactly the same length so the two ends meet. You don't want any overlap. Okay, and the next step is to cut about 3 or 4 centimeters of the sealing tape to put over the join. Yeah. And underneath the sealing tape, we're going to put one of these Outex stickers. Over the sealing tape, we then put another bit of protective tape, just to make sure that the edge is not going to leak. Okay, well, the next step is to put the valve in, and if you have a narrow rim between 1.65 and 2.15, you might need the extra rubber washer on here. Okay. My rim, this one's the rear, so it's about 4 inches. So I think I only need the one rubber washer. Then on the outside, you put this washer and the two nuts. The first nut is to clamp the valve in, and you don't want to clamp it too much, you don't want to tighten it too much. The other nut is to just lock those in place. That should be enough. I'll get a spanner later and lock those two together. The last thing to do then is to go around each of the nipple heads and using something like this little bit of massage wood I happen to have, or according to the instructions, they're using the end of a nice smooth rounded tyre lever, anything really. You go around each of the nipples and making sure that you're pushing out as much air as possible. Go around each one. Make sure you've got a lot of air out as much as possible. As I said before, the tyre should, once it's inflated, push all that air out, push all the tape deep into the nipples and create a good seal. Okay, well, I'm going to finish doing that and then go and put the wheel back on the bike. Thanks for watching.